All right. If there's anyone in your office you think should join in on this, let them know because it's now 11 o'clock. And this is going to be a great program to get you set up on our LUMA system. This is 20-minute annuity Tuesdays, although that's a lie this week. It's going to be around probably 30 minutes as we do this training. Uh, and my name is Trent Zimmermann. I'm the Annuities Director here at BGA Insurance. BGA Insurance is a wholesaler of life insurance, annuities, long-term care, and disability. I myself have a background with a bachelor's in economics, a master's in finance. I'm a chartered financial consultant and chartered life underwriter. Now, I'm going to lay all my cards on the table and let you know that when you guys uh, sell an annuity, you make a dollar. We make a nickel. So we're highly motivated here. We're not a salary system or commission system. So we're encouraged to get you those sales faster. Um, but I'm personally am incentivized to try and get you guys to sell more annuities. I'm motivated to make you successful, which is why we started this webinar series. We wanted to make the best free resource of honest annuity information. I'm not trying to sell you bonuses. I'm not trying to sell you volatility control. I'm not trying to sell you free money. I'm trying to give you good information so that you can be happy with it and your clients can be happy with it so that you come back and want to write more business with us. The other piece of that is we need to give you the tools you need. And so with giving you the tools you need, we partnered with a company called LUMA to get you a tool that is going to make annuities easier, faster, and unforgettable. Unforgettable because you won't be able to forget a question in the app. You won't be able to forget your training. You won't be able to forget a policy you've written 10, 15 years ago with us. So we're going to dive into that today. I've got Kyle Millard, who's from Luma, on here in case I make a mistake or can't answer one of your questions. And if you have any questions, go into the Q&A tab since this is a webinar setup and drop your question, comment, concern, compliment into there, and we'll get running with that. So. Here's our website, and I hope you all have this bookmarked. If it's not bookmarked, there's a cute little star right there. You can press that and throw that on your tab here so that you always have it available for you. Uh, and actually, before we dive into this, let me I promise to have some questions up for you. So let's launch this before we get going. Have you ever walked away from an annuity sale because you didn't feel confident in annuities, whether the selling of it, the information of it, or the application process? I see a lot of no's, which is great, but we're seeing some yeses take up. And I know last week when we covered closing, we had a lot of yeses. So we have a confident group here, but we got some yeses. We've got about 30% of you, a third of you, uh, are saying you've walked away. So now let's also launch a poll here of what do you think the average annuity size is? I know I made this one obvious. You all got it right. It's $150,000. So uh we're looking at an average commission for you guys around $10,000. So what if we add a tool that could get you one more sale a year just because you weren't walking away from something or because you found a renewal sitting out there that you forgot about or somebody asked you a question about annuities that you could answer now on the spot. So you're going to go onto our website. We're going to go into agent resources here, and you're going to have a login. I'm already logged in, of course. But we're going to need to attach your NPN to it. So if you're doing business with us for the first time, we're going to talk to you. We're going to get your NPN. We're going to punch it in here. Now, on our site, we've got plenty more than just annuities. We've got iPipeline for your term quotes and permanent quotes and e-applications there. We have Vive for your accelerated underwriting term. And all of you have worked with Sure LC. It's a pain in the butt to get going, but once you do, it makes your life a lot easier for contracting and review for your commission statements. We've got plenty more on here, but I'm just gonna, those are your top six used tools. And we're gonna dive into Luma, the newest one here. So as we go through this, we're going to talk about new applications, managing those applications, comparing products, running your own illustrations, making sure that you have all your training, you have the resources you need, and you can track everything that's already been placed. So we're going to go in here. You're going to have a dashboard here with all the information you need. And let's just start off with the application because that's what you guys are most going to use. If you have quotes that you need to be run, I'm still always here. And we've got 19, 20 carriers on here, or those are our most used 20 carriers. We've got access to over 60. So if you want to look at the whole market, if you want to do some complex designs, I'm always going to be here. But we're going to go in. You always need to put in the state first. We're going to put in an age, and you can drop down for product type, or you can just skip ahead right to the carrier that you want. So let's go ahead and place a Mass Mutual policy here and that American Legend 7. And you're going to get kicked over to the side here on how to apply for this product. And I'm going to actually exit out of this so I can show you some that have been run through before in these. So let me go back before I do that and show you how I got here. So we're going to go back to the home and you're going to see your application tracker here. You can also go into manage applications and see all your applications in there. But in your application tracker, you're going to have all open applications that you've started. So we talked about you go in here, you hit start an application, you click on your state, and you're able to dive in to your carriers. But let's say you only got the first piece of information done and you need to go back in later. You can dive into your application tracker here and you can hit continue. But this is so we can see what's going on within the system for your application. Now, this is going to be the longest part of the process is waiting for it to load. But once you're in here, you've got a reactive application system. So what do I mean by reactive? Reactive is because let's say we are applying for a product that you can add an income rider or not add an income rider. Well, if you want to add the income rider, you're going to have a series of questions after that. And so you're going to have auto-populating the new pages you need to add on. If you have a replacement policy, you're going to have to go through a 1035 exchange form, and that's going to be auto-populated in here. So gone are the days where you say, can I get an application for Mass Mutual? And I send you an application form, and you say, oh, I forgot that it's qualified, not non-qualified, and actually it's a replacement, so I need some forms. Or you didn't think to ask that, and maybe I didn't ask in the front end, or I did, and you didn't have the complete information. The client didn't tell you X, Y, and Z, and so we didn't get you the exact form that you needed. Gone are those days. You're submitting the application, and you're going to have it auto-populate for the correct information for your state and for the situation that you are purchasing in. And now you're going to get to the end and you're going to go to your signatures. You filled everything out. There is no way you can not complete the app because if there's anything incomplete, you won't be able to submit. And once you get to e-signatures here, you will not be able to get those e-signatures unless you do training. In every single one of my emails, I have in my signature, make sure you are up to date on your best interest and product trainings. And we try and remind people every time we know that they're doing an app for the first time. And I don't blame anyone because the system for getting training is obsolete and confusing. A carrier might update a product and you need to get new training. You might have a change in your licensing or your GA or your hierarchy in your agency, and you might need to do new training. Some training is going to be a webinar that takes about 5 minutes to do. Other training is just a testing that you reviewed the brochures. It is an arbitrary, outdated system that's hard to keep track of. But now I can't send out for an e-signature without having done my training. So I can complete the app and I can't send this e-signature out unless I've done my training. But if I have, I'll send the e-signature out. The client will get it, they'll sign, I will sign as the agent, and it will go to Danielle in our office to review. But you need to do your training. You can hop over here into the Learn tab, and you'll be shown all the trainings we have here on our site for you to do immediately there and be able to submit the application and never leave this site, never have to track down the codes for the carriers, never have to make a phone call into us saying this code's out of date. All your training will be in here. And while I'm in here, I'll show you the resources that if you're doing this and a client wants a brochure or you feel you need it, you can go in here, be able to click on. I'm just using Mass Mutual as our example for today and find a brochure to send to the client. So now let's go back into this application system and say we're going through this process, and maybe you feel you've put in all the information and there's just one sticky piece there that you can't answer. Well, while you're in this system, let's say we're in our beneficiary tab, and you say, I don't know why it's not saying that it's incomplete. There's an issue here. Maybe they require Social Security or ITIN, even though it's not in red. And so you want to call myself or Danielle. Unlike any other system we have, even on the life side, where we're trying to coach you through and get you on the other side without really seeing what you're looking at. Maybe we'll get on a Zoom call and look at your screen. We have a live feed of everything you're doing in here. So we can in real time be able to look into your application and even make corrections for you in order to get this complete. So gone are the days of trying to track down the information and why it's not complete and submitting an incomplete app because you didn't know it needed X, Y, and Z information. And gone are the days in e-apps where you're doing it on the carrier's website and it's kicking back incomplete, even though you're looking at saying, I know this is done. We can hop on and walk you through. And also, you'll have information from LUMA and contact us right underneath your name on this right-hand side. And you can contact LUMA and be able to get answers as well. If you need anything from LUMA, you can fill out a contact form. You can dial in right there. The information is right there and available to you at your fingertips to answer those questions. LUMA is well versed on all these products, but most of their calls are going to be about something going wrong with the app. And then you're going to have, yes. Kyle, hop on in. I know you're a LUMA guy who can correct these things.
I was just going to say we have a chat feature too there in the bottom right-hand corner as an additional way to chat with a support person if you
Yeah.
ever have any questions.
So right in this bottom right-hand side, you're going to have that chat feature that you can dial in and talk to somebody in a moment's notice. So we're going to go back to our homepage here and say we're going to look up a policy. Before we go into research and quoting, we're going to go into uh, looking up replacing a policy. So I'm going to go in here. You're going to be able to see all the policies you've ever placed with us. See policies that are out of surrender that you need to replace, policies that are coming up on surrender, and even policies, that have been in force a year. You can come in here and look at the allocation snapshot, what the values are, the values as of date. So this is up to date as of today, where this policy stands. Now, let's say this one is a good example because it's out of surrender. You have a policy that's out of surrender, you want to replace it. You can always call us. You can say, what's good out there? And maybe we tell you that, we're going to move this over to the standard or to Mass Mutual like we had talked about. You can go up and click that replace button Find your new product in here. And let's say we're going to put it with actually all aeons now. We're going to do that core income 7. This person wants to start taking income now. Now we can get started and hit apply in this bottom right area and see and pull over all the information that we've had and be able to start a new uh, application carrying in all that information over as well. Okay, Shanali is asking, can we see annuities that have been submitted in the past? Yes. If you've placed business with us as your GA, you'll be able to see all of that in here. Yes, so you will be able to, and you will be able to see contract data, including guarantee rates and so on. Well, not exactly guarantee rates. You'll be able to see in there. Let's go back to this, see what the values are. You'll see when it was effective, when it was received, when it hit maturity. You'll see if there's any withdrawals being taken out. And you can see uh, the cap and participation rate uh, down here. Now, I mean, this is saying there's a 0% cap rate. Uh, that's not exactly true, but so not all these are going to be exactly accurate down in here, but the values and the allocations and the client's information, all this up here is going to be an accurate feed dialing in. That cap rate of policy out of surrender, 0%. You can use your own logic there to uh, see that that's not correct. But these, I've checked this policy earlier today. This is the exact amount. This is the exact allocation. All this information is correct. And all this information tends to be extremely accurate. So we hit this replace button. It'll pull all the information and data we have on this client over. It'll pull all the replacement information over, and we can get started on that app ahead. Now, when you also have clients in here, you'll be able to, if they want to buy a second policy, copy that information over as well. So now let's go into research, compare, and create new income quotes because this is an area that you guys will be less likely to use. Because most of the time, I know you guys are talking to me asking, what's the best rates out there? What is going to give the best income for this? And I'm still always going to be here to do that. But let's say you just want to run and see what MIGAs we have available. So you can go in here. We're going to hit California. And maybe this is, I won't go into any odd ones, but let's say we're going to go into $100,000. And this is going to be a 60-year-old individual. We can hit filters here, and we're going to go for product type. And we're going to hit fixed rate. We're just worried about our MIGAs right now. And we just want to know what the best rates are going to be. Well, we can pull down in here and be able to see where these rates are. And so on this, we're going to be able to go into product information here and be able to pull up. Yes. Kyle, go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the rates are on page 2 of this product profile, but then there's also uh, the rates section, which I'm sure you'll get to after this.
Yep, won't walk me through.
Yeah, it's just in the top right.
Right
Right
here. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the piece I was missing. So now we can hit the rates and be able to pull up the rates in here.
And you can clear your filter there, and then that'll. There you go.
We're looking for fixed rates. Here we go. There we are. All right. Base rate here. Now we've got it. Thank you, Kyle. That was the piece I was missing.
No
So
problem.
we're able to go into the rates here, go into the fixed rates. Um, Click on that top right product rates button here. Click rates and let's control for base rate. And now we're going to be able to see that nighthead that I just told you guys about. That had the large increase. So now we're looking at a 7-year product with a 7.1 base rate. Now you're going to have this. Uh, we know that Nighthead is going to be a simple interest product. It has the exclamation point there. But if you weren't aware of that, you could always call and check in just to be sure because these do look so much higher than everything else. Now the compound equivalent on these are going to be near 6. But you can see here the rates that we're looking at and scroll down and see maybe you want something that's more an A plus carrier and see that protective is right here. Now, let's go back to FIA rates and we can say, let's also look up who has the top S&P annual cap. Maybe that's what we want to be looking at instead of fixed rates. And you'll be able to go in here and see the cap right over here on the right-hand side and see who has the top cap rates. Now you can dive in here and some of these are going to be increased because of fees. And you can always call and ask questions if you have any of these. But you can scroll through and see that, Global Equitrust is going to have the top, but that's with their buy up. Same thing with this Global Atlantic, that's the growth accelerator. And we can see down here performance rates and so on. And now we just have the standard point to point, and the top one is going to be at 10% if you don't want any fees. So let's go back into this marketplace and start a new income quote. This will be a popular one that pops up that we're going to go into FIA. You can also run your SPIAs and DIAs in here. So if you have a client who is not interested in the fixed index products, or you're looking for a 10-year period certain, you can also run those in here. So let's run one that I did earlier today. 63-year-old taking income at 75, $1 million, male, no joint annuitant. We're going to hit submit here and be able to kick out the top incomes here. Now, you're going to see some interesting information here that you're going to have Corebridge that has an initial rate of $230,000 and drops. These products up here that have this lowest, that's lower than the initial, have a front end loaded income schedule. So you're going to get a larger amount up front and then it's going to drop. Usually those drops happen at 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, sometimes 15. But you can go into the product profile and learn more about that. Or once again, always feel free to give us a call. The ones that are going to have the same initial and lowest, those are the ones that are going to be guaranteed to stay the entire length of the time. But you'll also be able to see down here some products that will have the non-guaranteed increasing. And that's going to be in the moderate scenario that you're going to see that there's going to be some increasing income on those. Those are going to be your Allianz products. Let's say we're looking at $130,000, but in moderate scenario, you can be making 151. For those of you who like selling these non-guaranteed index crediting increasing income, this is a great resource for you here, whereas Annuity Rate Watch previously did not have that ability if you were using that tool. So you can see in here and compare the guaranteed products down to the non-guaranteed products as well, which is a unique feature that we've not had previously to this. And as you go through this, you're also going to be able to go back into managing replacements, manage your annuity applications, and you'll also see all saved annuity configurations in there. So let's go into one last use case here and go back into research and compare. And now this is going to be the deep dive. This is going to be what the least amount of you guys are going to be doing. But let's take a case here that I was working on earlier today. That I was looking at. We're going to actually get rid of all these here. I'm going to filter and we're going to run on the standard here and apply filters. All right. Now, we're actually going to go outside of California. Let's hit Colorado on this because this is a product that I've told you guys about before, and I'll show you the difference between it. So we're going to hit, oops, one product there, and then we're going to the enhanced choice, and we're going to do the standard index select. And we're going to hit compare in here. You can do this even with one carrier, but now we're going to put in this on the index select. Let's run 100% or 50% in the S&P, 50% in the S&P with participation. Now, let's save this allocation and we'll go into get rid of this. Not sure why that's popping up. Come on. I'm sorry. Here we go. Standard death benefit. And we're going to be able to go. This is the product that I told you guys about that has in the fixed section a MIGA. So it's going to be 4.25% for the entire duration of this policy. It's going to be 7 years. And we're going to go into this intraday that has the high participation rate and high cap and use that strategy here. And now we can generate the charts and be able to compare the growth on these two policies and see that they're pretty tightly correlated together. And the enhanced starts pulling away 10 years out. Now, we can also look at the efficient frontier and find out where these allocations land on this efficient frontier and be able to see how well we allocated this policy. So the enhanced choice that has more options is going to have a larger efficient frontier. Once again, this is more advanced usage of this, but we can see here that on the top end of this efficient frontier, I could be using the B of A global mega trends. Now that's going to be a volatility control that you're going to want to do some more research into. But if you wanted to switch it over to that asset allocation, or you wanted to pick one down here that is maybe more to your liking, you can click on that and be able to click the point and have it change the allocations, and it's loading in now. And you'll see here, now the enhanced choice is going to be largely in the B of A megatrends and then slightly in the S&P 500. So now we can go back to that growth and see now this enhanced index is taking off a lot more. So that's going to be more advanced usage. Not everyone's going to be using that, but I want to circle back to just why we're here. We wanted to get you a system that would make annuities easier, faster, and unforgettable. Easier because you have an e-app system. You're not chasing anything down. You're going to get the correct app every single time, and you won't be able to submit it without filling out all the information at your and submitting it without having you won't be able to submit without having your training done. This will massively reduce the amount of apps not in good order and increase the speed with which it gets through suitability. So that's going to be your easier and faster and unforgettable because, like we just talked about, you won't be able to forget your training. You won't be able to forget a question. You won't be able to forget clients that you've sold policies to in the past. So now We're hoping that this is going to bring to you at least one more annuity sale per year. Annuity sale of a client that you've placed in the past that you didn't know that they were out of surrender. Annuity sale for an individual that is maybe on the fence, but you're able to get them information faster and make the process easier for going through the application. And maybe even from the cases that didn't place because suitability wasn't quite right. And instead of giving up on it, you can copy that information, put it over, and be able to track the product information and find a product that might better suit them. We are always here. We're a phone call away. Danielle is a phone call away. Luma is a phone call away, and we're here to make this a better experience for you. Now, we have these annuity webinars every single Tuesday. I hope the new ones here enjoyed this and want to stick around for some more of these as we go forward, because we're trying to make this the best resource for you of free, honest annuity information. I've attached my information here. Snap a picture of it. Give me a phone call. If you want one-on-one trainings on this, we're happy to give them to you. If you need annuity quotes or advice or illustrations, you can call me there as well. If you want our fact finder to be able to go out and collect all the information the first time, make the best recommendation with first, put your best foot forward, and then be able to submit this app quickly, have no poor experiences on your training and be able to get it in force quickly and be able to do annual reviews easily through the platform. We can get you set up with that as well. So, with that, that's your 30 minutes. Thank you all for joining.